Hey guys, I'm Ethan Moore from Stockholm Supply, and today, or last week I should say, I did a video on how to set up your bandsaw. 99% of the time, almost every single circumstance, you're going to set up your bandsaw the way I did it last week. So I'll link that video up top, and you can check that out. But Kirk asked, at the very end of the video, I showed how to set up your bandsaw 1% of the time. There's one other way you can set it up that does a very specific thing, and I want to kind of elaborate on that a little bit more, just to show you guys. So the way I have it set up, I'll get Katie to come in nice and close here. Look right from the side here. This is the most important angle. If you see how I have these thrust bearings set up, this is a very small blade. Come this way, just a touch right there. This is a 3/16 of an inch blade. I have the thrust bearing set up maybe a 1/16 of an inch into the back of the blade. So it's just gripping the back of the blade, and you can see that, so the side guys I should say here, and that thrust bearing is actually touching. So you can see when I spin this, it's touching. Now, as opposed to my other video last week, very important thing, that those bearings should all be a little bit away. In this case, you actually want that thrust bearing to touch the back of the blade, and it's okay if these side guides are touching a little bit too. Now, what this setup is allowing us to do, if you kind of look at the front here a little bit, Kate, it's allowing this blade to pivot in the guides like that. Well, the back of the blade is still supported, but that blade can actually pivot. So, what this will let us do, I'll show you here, let me turn it on. Let me get my vacuum on here too. 1 second. Is do some kind of cool cuts here. Okay. So now, I don't know if you guys could see that in the video there, but I was churning that blade quite aggressively, and that blade, you could probably see it hopefully, was only, if I churned it too aggressively, it would actually pivot in the guides. It wouldn't let me overturn the blade, if you know what I'm trying to say. So what that's allowing that blade to do is only cut as much of a curve as it is naturally able to. So it's not letting you over push that blade on the side here, because that blade can kind of pivot along the front. What this setup does not do well at all, if you have a line on your piece of wood that you're trying to follow, this will not do a very good job of following that line. What this does do, if you have an idea in your head and you don't have a line you want to follow, you can maybe make a rough sketch. This will let you kind of cut something out, make some very nice natural curves that bandsaw is able to do. And what this also will do is basically that bandsaw blade is never going to get stuck. It will always be able to keep going because it's never going to be over churned, if you know what I'm trying to say. So yeah, it's an interesting way to set up your bandsaw. Really, you're going to use this for some crafty type items, just some freehand work. Maybe some guys would use this to make bandsaw boxes, but if you have a pattern that you want to follow, you are not going to set up your bandsaw this way. You're going to set it up the traditional way I showed you in my last video. But if you kind of want a little bit more of a free cutting blade to get some nice natural smooth curves, and no kind of jagged marks where that bandsaw blade might stop from being bound in the cut, this is definitely a way you can set up your bandsaw. So yeah, just have those side guides a little bit on the back of the blade, that thrust bearing right up against. And the one thing I forgot to mention, the bottom guides you can totally remove from the blade. So the only thing supporting this blade right now is those top guides. So yeah, if you have any questions at all, you can email me at info@stockhamsupply.com or just comment on the video. Thanks for watching.
I noticed that you used your phone to turn on your dust collection system.
Something I'm working on, it's top secret. Can't ask me any more questions about it.
I guess that's that. Stay tuned.